All right, Elaine, thanks for joining me. It's great to be here, and it's been a pleasure working with you and your team and getting to know the school. But first, if I love to give folks who don't know you at all a chance to learn a bit about your background. And I've had the pleasure of working with you previously, so I know what a great, thoughtful leader you are. But tell folks who don't know anything about your background a bit about your previous work and kind of who you are as the head of school.
That sounds great. I'd sort of send it right back at you, Gabe. It's been really fun to work with you on this search and on the work that we did before. I spent most of my growing up years in Seattle. I went to college at Northwestern. After that, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so I started working at an independent school, the Petty School in New Jersey. And at that time, I was one of those 22-year-old boarding school teachers, who did everything. So I was teaching English, but I also started a rowing program and helped with peer leadership and coached soccer, which I'd never played in my whole life, and all the things. Moved from there to Charles Wright Academy in Tacoma, and then ultimately to Lakeside School, where I was for a really long time, over 20 years. And at Lakeside, I was lucky enough to be able to do all kinds of work, continued teaching English, continued coaching, but also was an assistant director of the upper school, a dean of students. I was in charge of professional development. I was a college counselor, all the things. I ended my career there working as I was in charge of professional development for all grades 5 through 12, which was a really exciting piece of my work. And I was also the director of the middle school. And then I came to Open Window School, which is a K through 8 school for 360 students in Bellevue, Washington, which focuses specifically on gifted kids. Our mission is to nurture and inspire students of high intellectual potential. And I came here to be head of school 2.5 years ago in the deep pandemic. And I came because I have 2 gifted daughters, and I wish I had found this school for them when they were the age of the kids here. Right now, they're 22 and 26 and living in New York City. And what this school does that is really special is that it concentrates on students' heads as much as it concentrates on their hearts every single day, all day long, from kindergarten through 8th grade, in every single discipline. And it's been doing that for almost 40 years, which is long before there was even such a thing as social emotional learning. So we're really, really living our mission and believe we have something special here that's worth sharing more broadly. And so part of my work with you in terms of thinking about this position is, where are we going to take this school so that it continues to build itself as a leader in gifted education? So.
Really, thank you for that. And I can tell, no, it's great. And I can tell based on your background, had you known this school, you probably would have gone there as somebody who can really just identify with that mission. And you mentioned there about kind of where you want to head, and you feel like there's some great kind of opportunities in front of the school. Talk about that both for the school itself, but also where you sort of see the national sort of movement around gifted education and what you hope your school can do to further and advance that important sort of support for gifted students.
Yeah. The opportunity, well, circling back, I do think that what we do here is really special. I call myself, in all the admissions sort of things that we do, the panels and stuff, I call myself the proud and optimistic head of Open Window School. And I do that because I started in the middle of the pandemic and was so lucky to inherit a school with a group of teachers that are super dedicated and a really strong administrative team. And we, like everybody in the world, had to build a school out of nothing in the pandemic. And we just did an incredible job. We managed to maintain strong community within the classroom and sort of across the whole sort of organization. And our kids didn't lose any academic ground. So we came out of the pandemic with a growth mindset. What are the kinds of things that nobody wants to do that anymore, don't get me wrong, but what are the things that we learned that now we can put to use? And so there's a couple, and some of that is teachers during the pandemic were asked to really reflect on what's essential about their curriculum and their pedagogy, and also the value of community and connection and social emotional learning was just reinforced to us all over the place. So I think that actually sort of tightened our curriculum and our approach to the work that we do. We had some other specific things that have come up that I hope people will look into and try to learn more about. The board has contributed funding to allow us to pilot an online program called Open Window Online. It's a high challenge, high support, project-based, synchronous program for gifted students anywhere around Washington State that is anchored around these in-person experiences. And we have a founding teacher, we have a director, we're advertising all over the place. We're going to open up in fall of 2023. And the real motivation behind that is that we know we can offer high quality education at home. And we know there's a need out there for kids that can't get to our independent on-campus schools or public schools to be with like-minded kids who are curious and love to learn. So that's a really exciting endeavor. I'm proud to work at a school where the whole organization embraces us trying something new like that. That is really, really special. We also have an organization called the Association of Gifted Independent Schools, which is 5 schools across the nation that are collaborating to offer a programming right now for parents and guardians through the virtual platforms of Zoom. That's parent education. So we're really trying to think about how do we spread the word. Parenting a gifted, well, a couple of things. One is I want to be really clear that giftedness does not mean better than. Gifted just means that your brain works in a very particular way, maybe in a way that's different than your grade level or faster than your grade level in 1 or 2 areas. If you've met one gifted kid, you've met one gifted kid is sort of what we say in our admissions process. But the needs of gifted kids, because of their intensity and because sometimes they can be outliers in regular classrooms, is really important. And what we offer feels like it really matters to the families that find their way to us. So I don't know if I actually answered your question, Gabe, but those are the things that.
No, those are great. And I think you talked a lot about initiatives that the school was trying, and you sort of talked about kind of really wanting to sort of explore and offer and develop and ultimately advance the mission of the school. And now we think about this role that you have defined and recognized a need for. Maybe speak a little bit about that. Why this role? Why now for the school? Yep. And how do you see this person connecting both to helping the core school itself grow its program, but also align to some of those broader industry-wide initiatives that you're exploring?
So this role is part of an intentional shift in the school culture to be thinking more broadly about who we are and what we can accomplish for as many people as we are trying to reach. We're also trying to establish the school from kind of a legacy perspective. And so the director of institutional advancement and strategy will be part of the core leadership team that will be working with the middle school director and the lower school director and our director of curriculum and our director of diversity and sort of that, and the CFO, sort of that whole group, thinking short term, what do we need right now? And then long term, what do we need 5 or 10 years down the line to continue to serve the kids that are on our campus and also serve the kids and families of the future. It's a job that will ask whoever comes to be strategic, to be creative, to be a great collaborator, to be a team builder, because you'll be building the team that will include a lot of people or a number of people that are already here, as well as potentially some new people down the line. We also are at the starting phase of a $10 million capital campaign. And so this person would, of course, be sort of the front end of that. We're looking for somebody who's a doer, who's willing to pitch in and be part of these strategic meetings, but also be willing to be out on the car line saying hello to the kindergartners when they get out of class, or not out of class, out of their cars to come to school. So.
And that's an important note, I feel like, as the school really looks to elevate its thinking and sort of grow, to use the term legacy and to really kind of, plant some important cornerstones for, the school of the future. There's been a fantastic culture of philanthropy and commitment that your team has cultivated and that the community has embraced. And can you talk about that, sort of how you see this major giving and sort of, this initiative around a capital campaign aligning with that community first approach to who you are, your identity, and it's this is a great wonderful school of individuals who care about it, who want to pitch in, and that sort of a mindset. We don't want to lose that as you think about some of those approaches or thoughts around future legacy.
Yeah, I'm not sure this is going to answer your question directly, but this is what's coming to mind. We have a highly effective, incredibly dedicated group of people working in the development office. Most of the work that they've done, I'm going to describe as present tense, right? Working with the current families and faculty and staff and trustees to be raising the money that the school needs now from the population of people that we have now. What we're shifting towards is a model that is really focused on this idea of culture of philanthropy that looks back and looks forward. We have 40 years of alums, and we have a lot of their parents and guardians that live in our neighborhood. How do we really tap into that network and make sure that they kind of remember what Open Window provided for them and have the opportunity to reconnect with us? And we're looking in this office to also be thinking about how are we setting, through our community building projects and our fundraising projects, how are we building opportunity for the future generations of kids and families that are going to come our way. And so I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure that answers your question, but that's the answer.
No, that does. I mean, I think that really is that sort of past, present, future sort of mindset. Just in closing here and thinking about the present, and like if somebody who's never been to Open Window came onto campus, what would you want them to see? What are a few things that just, when you drive up the mountaintop, as I call it, and get onto campus every day, what excites you the most? What are you proudest of? Just what are some maybe unique elements of the school that are just so wonderful to either visibly see or to recognize or part of the program that you really want anybody who is coming on for the first time to learn about?
Yeah, so many things. It's hard to narrow it down. When you come to campus, you can't get away from the setting, which is really literally on the top of a hill, or a tall hill, almost a mountain in Bellevue, and you can see the mountains in the distance in 2 or 3 different directions. So it's beautiful. But more focusing more on the school piece, I would want the person who came to walk through the halls and do 2 things. One is look at what they see, the work that's posted, the kids and teachers that are clustered in the hallway working on a math project, the middle school kids in what we call the View Commons, collaborating on a project having to do with how to help a family make their home more energy efficient. I think you would, and so part of it is seeing, part of it is also listening for what you hear in the classrooms and what you hear from those 8th graders working on that project. It's a joyful place. Kids that are here love to learn. And so I guess that would be the main thing. I could point to specific rooms or specific teachers that I would love to have people talk about, but you would learn a lot just by walking through the halls of the lower school and the middle school.
Super. Maybe one last question I wanted to ask, and just help someone learn a little bit more about you, maybe a couple of things that are outside of your core professional domain, or sort of in your background, what you like to do when you're not at Open Window, just kind of who you are as a leader and a person as well,
Yep.
and what kind of things that are for you very important.
Outside of school, I'm married to my husband. We've been married for almost 30 years. I have 2 daughters. They're 26 and 22. They live in New York City. My parents are both in Seattle. I love to read. I read a lot. I'm a rower. I row on a nationally competitive crew team 3 mornings a week, which is sort of has kept me grounded, keeps me grounded. And in terms of, and I love my work. I love the school and I love the job. It's endlessly creative and interesting, and kids are amazing. In terms of leadership, I have a couple of leadership mantras that I refer to and think about a lot. One of them is decisions are easy when values are clear, and that guides a lot of the way that I think about the work that I do, and actually all of the decisions that I make. As a leader, I really believe in distributed leadership, so that the people that I'm working with really have charge of their own domain, and we are collaborating to get them to move whatever that domain is forward in the way that they think makes the most sense. So.
Well, it's been great to work with you as a school leader, and been great to get to know your school. We are looking forward to the next phases of the search, and I just want to thank you for your time here, and I appreciate all your thoughts and insights. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Gabe.